Coming up, we're going to talk about Wemby, the KD Part 2 rematch, and what that means going forward for this season, betting karma, and we'll go ahead and look ahead to tonight's games. With that being said, welcome to the grind.
There's a 2-hour window I get to see my woman. There's a clock ticking on her, it ain't my friend. Work wasn't easy, but we've been fit. Oh, I'm home, and she's off to bed. Oh no, money, my baby liar.
Welcome to the Daily Grind, everyone. I'm your host, Devin Murray. How's it going out there? You good? I'm pretty good. I just got a new coffee grinder. The Amazon package lady that fills up the apartment complex that I live at, that fills up our mailboxes. She was putting packages into the hub, is what it's called. And I was like, "Oh, can I grab a package real quick?" And she was like, "No." Wasn't super friendly about it. She was like, "No, I can't really stop in the middle of it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then so I waited a beat to see, like, okay, how long does this process take? And it was very clear that this was a long process per package, and she had a lot of packages. But I wanted my coffee grinder, and so I just sat on the side, but she couldn't see me anymore, and I proceeded to listen to her into her AirPods on whatever phone call she was on, berate me and make it sound like I had some ridiculous request, and then was very upset about it. And then I was trying to slow her down on her route, and that there was going to be a line of people waiting. So I ended up sitting there waiting about 30 minutes for her to finish. Like I said, I wanted my coffee. And then whenever she was putting one of the last packages into one of the doors on the side that I was kind of sitting on, she saw me and realized the error of her ways. And then once she finished up finally, she sheepishly motioned for me that I could come retrieve my packages finally. I wouldn't have included that story, but it was about a coffee grinder, and this is the daily grind. So I feel like it's pretty applicable. Plus, I got my coffee. Man, talk about a nice grind. All right, anyway, that's enough of that. Y'all didn't ask to hear any of that. Jeez, I just did 3 minutes on a coffee grinder package story. Wow. I mean, not like there's anything else to really talk about in the NBA. I can't think of anything noteworthy that happened in the last 12 hours, 18 hours. Just kidding. Holy crap. Did y'all watch Suns Spurs last night? I hope you did. If you didn't, I'm sure that you saw the highlights. I hope that you faded me yesterday like I instructed on the podcast. I told you after patting myself on the back that I was going to go 0-4. I said it on the podcast. I know how these things work. I wouldn't take anything back. And I'll tell you why. I wanted to gloat. Felt good to gloat. It's just me over here. I got to gas myself up. Secondly, gambling's funny sometimes. Sometimes you have a bet that it's such a loser that you can't do anything but help and laugh. And last night was one of those. Was probably the worst bet that I've ever had. As far as like, oh, I guess this just isn't happening. If you remember, I called out Suns first quarter -2.5. 3 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, they were down 13-0. But if I'm gonna lose a bet, I'd love to lose it on a night like that, where you get to see something that you've just never seen before. I asked this question on Twitter after the first Spurs game, and obviously got no responses. But I asked, Wemby is currently a top what player? And I saw that question going around again last night after the game, and this morning from some more popular Twitter accounts just taking my material, obviously. And the consensus seems to be top 20, top 25. Me, I don't really have an answer yet, because I thought Wemby had a chance to be top 35 whenever I posed that question 2 weeks ago. But we still haven't even seen the Spurs really use him in like a perverse way, you know. There were so many times last night where they just threw it up to him. Just, hey, get in the lane real quick. We'll just throw it up to your hands and you just dump it in. But then they run, you know, off-ball action. They get other people involved. They let Wemby try to run the offense from like down in the short corner off the elbow, which they just seem to be bad possessions at this point. I understand that if he's hitting that shot that it's going to go in, and the Spurs probably really don't care about winning right now. It's just a bonus for them. They're just really trying to see what they've got. And so I don't want to answer the question, Wemby's a top whatever player, until we see what we've got. And I honestly think that last night was just a little glimpse, because the team around him is awful. If you go look at all the stats, whenever Wemby's off the floor, they're a horrible defensive team. They look awful on offense. But if we think back to the last time that the Spurs had a number 1 pick and they got Tim Duncan, they plugged in Tim Duncan on an already really good Spurs team next to David Robinson. And Tim Duncan shot up and, you know, was pretty quickly a top 40 player in the NBA, top 30 player in the NBA. I don't know. I wasn't really watching the NBA back then, but that's what I've heard. And so in his second season, they won the championship. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think if you take Wemby and you plug him in for Tim Duncan in that first rookie season, I think they win the championship that year. He's that good. He's that impactful. Because if you put Wemby on a good team, you don't have to run the offense through Wemby. And like I just said, those are the only bad possessions, really, is whenever Wemby doesn't touch the ball or he's running it straight through him. Now, the possessions where he gets like the dribble handoff at the top of the key, or, you know, it gets swung to him and he just takes the quick three, that's fine, obviously. He's a decent spot-up shooter already. It's the ones where they want him to be Luka already that I kind of have a problem with. Because he's shown that he can pass out of the post without having the offense initiated that way. Last night, probably the most freakish play that happened all night was it gets thrown to him in the post, he's falling backwards, and he tip passes it back up the lane, and then it's a quick layup. He's got such quick hands for a guy that's 7'4", 7'5". The weakest part of his game is his dribble, and so I just don't like initiating the offense through him. He's such a unique player that he might be the first guy that we see that can really create without having to be a point forward. I don't know. It's fascinating. I'm going to go back and watch that game a couple times probably. Other bets for the night that were all losers. Oh, no. The Raptors didn't cover. They just got beat on the boards, kept turning the ball over. Just didn't seem super buttoned up last night. Although, Scotty Barnes is looking pretty good. I know I dunked on him the other day, but he's looking pretty good. If Darko figures out what to do with him. I haven't seen them running those terrible ball actions for him up at the top of the key and him taking awful threes. He's either taking spot ups or he's getting into the paint. If he figures out that that's kind of all he needs to do and eliminates bad shots, could be a pretty good player. Decided to stay away from Pistons Pelicans. Durant was a late ad and I wanted to take the Pistons, but then it just didn't feel right. Felt a little too easy, stayed away. Pelicans ended up covering. And then Magic Jazz. I didn't like that line at 2. As I mentioned yesterday, it opened up as a pick'em. I liked the Magic, but I knew that I was just going to be watching the Spurs-Suns game, and so I just didn't get in on it. And instead, I added Suns late plus 225, I think, to win, and that obviously didn't go through. But such is life. We move on. Wow, I just got another cup of coffee. It's so good. Speaking of coffee, let's use this as a space for us to interact. Listener and guy who talks to himself. What's your favorite way to prepare coffee? I'm a French press guy. I grind my own coffee beans. Obviously, now I definitely do. And I'm a French press guy. I don't like Chemex. I don't like anything that's got a filter on it. French press has the screen, but it's not a piece of paper, because I think that anything that goes through the filter, you just lose the texture. You lose the mouth feel that you want. So I'm a French press guy through and through. So comment down on YouTube or on Spotify on the question. Comment down, what type of coffee do you like? I use a Guatemalan roast, a nice medium, and no sugar for your boy. That's right, no sugar here. I like a little half and half, or even a little heavy cream if that's all you got. Cream me, baby. Okay, this is going off the rails. I say all of that to say, please like and subscribe. Give us a review. Share us. I'm creating an Instagram account. I think I'm going to put up some reels and some clips. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into tonight's games. We have 7 games tonight. Nothing like the 13-game slog we had on, what was that, Wednesday? Jesus. But tonight is the first night in NBA history of the in-season tournament. What's the in-season tournament? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. The players are admitting they don't know. The only thing that I know is that there's some gaudy courts tonight in the NBA. Courts that ain't nobody never played on before. So I'm trying a new system. I was laying in bed this morning, thought up of a new betting system, and we're going all in on it tonight. Have you seen some of these courts? They're so bright. They're so distracting. The lines are going to look a little weird. That's right. You see where I'm going with this. That's right. We're taking the unders in every single game tonight. And I'll report back on how it went. There is one game that I'm not going to bet the under on. And in this experiment, it's kind of my control group. Because as gaudy as most of the courts are, there are some courts that still kind of look like basketball courts. The only one tonight that looks like a basketball court is Milwaukee. It's like that beige color. I'll try to put up each court while I'm talking about the game for the video podcast version of this. Like I said, I'm trying to increase the production value, trying to make this thing worth everybody's while. But the first game we have up tonight is Cavs at Pacers. Look at that court. How would you shoot on that court in a big arena? So the Cavs opened up as 1-point favorites. It's moved to 3-point favorites. A decent amount of the public is on the Cavs, and all of the sharp money is on the Cavs. And I was pretty high on the Pacers going into the season, but I'll be honest, not so much anymore. After seeing what I've seen, Tyrese Halliburton is questionable tonight. I believe Benedict Mathurin is playing, it seems. But I just haven't liked what I've seen from them as far as a competitive spirit. They beat Cleveland in Cleveland earlier in the season. So you look for their coaching staff to have a few things figured out, a couple things to work with here, especially with their full roster. Even Jared Allen has been upgraded to questionable. I guess Darius Garland is still out, but do we really want Garland out there with Mitchell? I kind of feel like they're better with just one of them sometimes. One scheduling note, none of the teams playing tonight are on a back-to-back. That rarely happens, but everyone should be pretty fresh. The only thing that really worries me here is, this is Pacers on a Friday night at home. Say if they do get it rolling a little bit, maybe the crowd gets into it. Maybe Halliburton starts knocking down some shots. This is a tough spot. Okay, I was just looking at some stats and stuff. The Pacers aren't very good. Halliburton's questionable. If Halliburton's a scratch, definitely going Cavs. Either way, I lean Cavs. If it's a late ad that Tyrese Halliburton is going to play, then I expect the line to move in the Cavs' favor, so I'm going to hold off on it. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to take the Cavs. Also, spoiler alert, it's getting late. I'm not probably going to do all of the courts. Probably just going to throw one up to bring in viewers and then skimp out on the rest. But next week, we're going to have graphics, like, for real. I'm just about done with them. Okay, next up. Oh, and last note, we're going to take the under there on the Pacers as well. Probably not going to parlay anything there. We're just going to take it straight up on all the games. Might do a little round robin on all the unders. I don't know. I think at least half of them hit. And if over half of them hit, then a round robin can be a little profitable, but it can get expensive. So in the Bucks game, we're not going to take the over, but we're just not going to not bet the under because their court looks pretty normal. This opened up Knicks-Bucks by 6. It's down to about 5.5. Public likes the Bucks. Sharps are on the Knicks. RJ Barrett is questionable. I'll just go ahead and say this before I start talking myself out of it. I like the Bucks here. I don't think that the Bucks are bad, but I do have a lot of hesitations and worries about the Bucks. In their last game, they played Toronto, and Toronto had not scored 110 points yet in the season. And they put up 130 on Milwaukee. Adrian Griffin doesn't seem to have a good grasp on this locker room, this bench, this team, the game, the concept of basketball, maybe. Okay. I'll back off. I got a little carried away there, maybe. But the thing that I've seen so far that made me go, maybe Adrian Griffin just didn't cut out for this, is he blew his challenge in the Toronto game in the first quarter on some very obvious charge by Giannis. And Giannis was like, oh, I'll review it, which is stupid for Giannis to even ask for that in the first quarter. But whatever. And so they lose their challenge right off the bat, like 5 minutes into the game. Now, luckily for the Bucks, I don't think very highly of the Knicks. And I think that Brook Lopez and Giannis will be able to stifle and keep Julius Randle from bully balling his way into a decent game. Looking forward to seeing Brunson versus Dame. 5.5 is quite a lot of points, but they're at home. They're on a court that looks pretty normal. Friday night in Milwaukee. Bet it gets a little rowdy. Give me the Bucks minus 5.5. Next up, Nets Bulls in Chicago on the reddest court you've ever seen. Bulls are favored by 3.5. Opened at 3. Pretty split from the public. The Sharps look to be leaning on to the Bulls. Dinwiddie's back tonight. He's available at least, is what it's saying. Nick Claxton is out. So I'm interested to see if they just run Ben Simmons at the 5 like I was talking about and keep ball handlers on the court, people that can shoot around him. I'm not saying that the Nets are going to win this game, but I could easily see this being a one-possession game at the end. Give me the points. Give me the Nets. Plus 3.5. Oh, and the under. Next up, we've got Wizards in Miami against the Heat. This line opened up at 8 for the Heat. It's up to 8.5 on most books. The public likes the Wizards, and the Sharp kind of likes the Heat. Friday night, Jordan Poole, who couldn't give less of a crap about this team and where they're going for this season. In South Beach? Yeah, give me the Heat, minus 8.5. I know that the Heat haven't been good this year, but at least they care. There's a good chance Miami's back at full strength tonight. You've got to think that Heat culture knows that they can't lose this game. This might be worth checking out what the first half line is, what the first quarter line is. Miami should know that if they're going to take this game, that they should take it early. They're a veteran team. So we're not going to overthink this. If you can get it under 10, I think that that's good value. I'd be surprised if this is not a double-digit victory for the Heat. Give me Heat, minus 9. Or actually, I think I can get it at minus 8 still. Next up, we've got Warriors Thunder. And there's nobody on the injury report for the Warriors. They're fully healthy. For the Thunder, SGA is out with a left knee sprain. And Kenrich Williams is still out. Jalen Williams is available tonight for, I think this is the first game since the opener that he's back. This line started at Warriors -1. It's moved to Warriors -6. I'm pretty sure that that's all based on the SGA left knee sprain news. I don't think that that was a foregone conclusion, but I'm not exactly sure when that news dropped. The sharp money is all over the Warriors, but I can't really tell if that's at what line those sharps got that money in on. All of the value might already be gone there at -6. There's a small chance that the Warriors are rolling right now. I know they didn't cover at home against the Kings, but they did beat the Kings. The thing that concerns me is that they weren't able to win the rebounding battle against the Kings. Got out-rebounded by 12. This team seems to be feeling themselves quite a bit. I think they win the game, but 6 is a lot. 6 is a whole lot. With Jalen Williams back, that's another big body that they can throw out there to try to win the rebounding battle. I know Shea's out, but they get Case and Wallace that can step in. Josh Giddey's used to handling the ball and being a creator. I don't think that there's any value left in this Warriors line now that it's at 6. Give me the Thunder +6. Next up, we have the Mavericks traveling to Denver to take on the Nuggets. This line opened up at -5 Nuggets. It's moved to -6. It appears that Kyrie is available. Maxi Kleber's out. And Markieff Morris is questionable. Christian Braun, Jokic, and Jamal Murray are all probable with little nagging injuries. Might be something to keep an eye on because they're on the first night of a back-to-back. They host the Bulls tomorrow. You know, I really worry about the Mavericks' ability to hang around in this game at elevation. You know, conditioning isn't really Luka's strongest suit. And if the Nuggets are going to get out and play defense, I don't think that Luka's really going to be able to play his style for 48 minutes. The public likes the Nuggets. The Sharps love the Nuggets. I'm going to hold off here and wait and see how this injury report comes in. See if there's any late scratches. See if they sit one of these guys since it is the first night of the back-to-back. This game doesn't tip off until 10 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of time to wait and see what's going to happen. If any of them are sitting and this line drops down to Nuggets -4, Nuggets -3.5, I'd be tempted to take them. If they're all playing and this goes up to Nuggets -9, -8, I think I might have to hop on the Mavericks. So this is kind of a wait and see. Right here, this -6, that's a good line for Vegas. They're good at what they do. Assuming everybody is healthy and the line just doesn't move for some reason, and it's already factored in that they're all actually playing, I can't really see the Mavericks winning this game. Couple that with the conditioning at altitude and the bad coaching matchup of Jason Kidd versus Michael Malone, or Mike Malone as he hates to be called. If it stays at -6 and everybody's playing, I'm going to join the Sharps and take the Nuggets. All right, and that's it. Those are the only teams that are playing tonight as far as I'm concerned. I don't see anything else. Oh, that's right. That's right. The Memphis Grizzlies still exist, huh? The 0-5, bottom of the barrel, back where you belong. Memphis Grizzlies are in Portland, Oregon to play the Trailblazers. This opened up as Grizzlies -4.5. It's down to Grizzlies -3.5. The public loves the Grizzlies. The Sharps love the Grizzlies. I love the Grizzlies, but I'm not sure about this line. Derrick Rose is out. Santi Aldama's doubtful. But what's this? Scoot Henderson is out. Shaedon Sharp's probable. Anthony Simons is still out. But these are not Wednesday's Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, no, dear reader. This is the new, improved Memphis Grizzlies after adding just an absolute game changer in Bismack Biyombo. And usually that would be a joke, me saying Bismack Biyombo the game changer. But for the Grizzlies, he might be. Which is a nice way of saying he better be. Usually you kind of worry about plugging in a new guy and taking some time to adjust, but they're not going to be asking Bismack to be doing that much. Your role is very, very clearly defined as soon as you step into that locker room. We just need your big ass, dude. We just need your big ass down there to stop people from getting to the rim. Let Jaren Jackson float around a little bit. Let's get some of these rebounds. Let's get out in transition, and let's get some easy buckets because this half-court offense stinks. Now, I will say this is making my... Oh, I didn't even do rat and fishy lines. Didn't even think about it. How about this? Here's a fishy line. Why is all the public money, all the public bets, all the sharp bets, all the sharp money going on the Grizzlies, yet this line moved a point towards the Blazers from 4.5 to 3.5? That's a fishy rat line. Rat fishy line doesn't sound the same. That's a fishy rat line right there. Because now that it's at 3.5, if you think the Grizzlies are going to win, well then, yeah, they're probably going to win by at least 4. So that's not a good line there. And it's moving against the money? Yep. Fishy, check. Rat, check. Which means that those two things cancel each other out. If you've been listening to the pod, you know that you should fade this play that I'm about to give because I'm just like the Grizzlies are 0-5. I'm 0-5 on betting on the Grizzlies. But fishy rat line equals a good line in my book. I'm taking the Grizzlies. This is the day that Bismack Biyombo shows up and saves the season. Give me the Grizzlies -3.5 in Portland. All right, that's it for this episode of The Daily Grind. As always, check the Twitter account at The Grind Podcast for final plays. Nothing is confirmed unless you see it on that Twitter feed. I still call it Twitter. I'll always call it Twitter. You can count on me. I'm going to try to throw up just quick episodes of this, probably like half this length. Saturday and Sunday. I'll probably also clip down the amount that I bet on Saturday and Sunday just because I'm usually watching college football and other stuff. But I'll still get some bad plays out there. But thanks again for listening. I've been your host, Devin Murray. Have a great weekend.
Easy, but we've been fit. Oh, I'm home, and she's off to bed.